show like the old TV shows, how you didn't even realize it if you're watching them, that there's like 2 single beds in the married couple's bedroom. There's
Ozzie and Harriet. Yeah.
Oh,
right,
yeah. It's like, hey, you sleep in your bed, I'll sleep in mine, and but yeah, it's the evolution. So I'm definitely not that guy. That I believe that it is your right to listen to that crappy music if you want to. It's not my right, because I don't like it, to say nobody should be able to listen to it. And it's the same point. Like, I don't stand here and go, nobody should. I don't think you should, but if you want to, I mean, go for it, man. I mean, do what you got to do. So anyways, man, let's talk a little NCAA football. Hey, first off, real quick, what are your thoughts on, and never a bad time to talk about bad things swirling up north, Michigan, a lot of things going on there. What were your thoughts looking at the way things went down over the weekend with the injury, and then not I mean, we talked a little bit about it on Monday, but like, where were you as far as, do you believe that they were not looking out for the best interests of the student athletes?
No, in my heart of hearts, I don't believe that there was anything malicious done. I don't think there was anything that was, did they screw it up by keeping him on the field? Absolutely. Do I believe that Brady Hoke didn't realize that his quarterback had possibly been concussed? Yes, I believe he didn't know that. I don't think he's a heartless, thoughtless guy who thought that he was going to lose the game if he ran his backup quarterback out there for a couple plays while he checked out Shane Morris. No, I don't believe that. So do I believe Brady Hoke? And when he says that he wasn't aware of what was going on, yeah, and maybe, Brady, if you put a damn headset on where you can communicate with some people that can see the field, you might be better informed about what the hell's going on the field during the games you're supposed to be the coach of. And so I do find fault with him for that, for having this old school, I'm not going to wear a headset approach. Maybe that has something to do with how his team's been performing. But yeah, I believe him when he says he was not aware. I also think for all the people that are standing up on their soapboxes now and standing on this principle, and I'm talking about Michigan people, Michigan fans, Michigan boosters, let's not kid ourselves that there's any principle to this other than 3 losses in September. Yep. Let's not pretend that there's any high moral value, more principle that's at stake here about the mental health or the long-term health of a quarterback. Because if Brady Hoke was 5-0, we wouldn't be talking about replacing him or running him and the AD out of town. Because let's just get real. Same thing went back to the Jim Tressel thing. There wouldn't have been near as much support for Jim Tressel after he did what he did. If he was 1-9 against Michigan instead of 9-1. Yeah. He had all kinds of backing. Why? Because he was a consistent winner and he won 6 Big Ten titles in a row. There were obviously people that felt he was being punished too severely for the transgressions he was responsible for. But bottom line, the record has a lot to do with it. So I just think,
I agree.
Certainly if Brady Hoke had not lost 3 of 5 September games and they were 4-1 instead of 2-3, that the Michigan folks would not nearly be as up in arms about this incident with Shane Morris getting his bell rung on the field.
I mean, I agree. And people say, well, how could he not notice? Remember when Jerome Harrison decleated Colt McCoy and he was concussed? And I mean, the camera, and there's cameras everywhere on these games, and those cameras sure as hell see a lot more. And I get an appreciation for that doing high school play-by-play, because where I'm used to being able to look at different angles and replays of stuff, now I get one shot from far away, and I better see all of it that I can because I'm not getting a second look at it. And that's what it's like as a coach on the sideline. But remember Colt McCoy, it's clear as day to everybody except the guys on the Brown sideline that this guy doesn't know what day of the week it is. I mean, that camera's on his eyes.
And you're right, and that play, that single play,
that changed
really
it.
caused an entire new way of looking at how the medical staff has to be involved and the whole treatment of concussions. I mean, that was sort of the culmination of this growing concern, and all of a sudden it became, okay, we're going to have a whole new protocol in the NFL for the way that players are treated when they take a blow to the head by the medical staff and by having to come off the field, and this whole new regimen of things they had to hoops to jump through, both after the games, between games, to get back on the field, really stemmed from that hit by Harrison on McCoy. That was sort of the the apex of it all. Everything else followed from that because it was so obvious to the television viewer that clearly the communication with coaching staff, medical staff, and everybody else on the sidelines just wasn't there.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. That changed. That really brought all that to the forefront. And now you've got what we've got now. So, you may see some of that too. But I am 100% in agreement with the fact that if they had been performing better on the field, this would be much less of an issue with them there. And you got to think. You've got to think that taking that issue out of it, Brady Hoke is probably not got much slack left on the rope there as the coach before they make another move and once again make some changes up there. Not that I ever mind seeing dysfunction.
One of the things to think about too is that they have a new president up there, just like at Ohio State. They have a relatively new president who's only been on the job a matter of months, if not just weeks. That came in from, I believe, Brown. And is a new person in that president's role at Michigan. Even in the absence of any of this happening, I'd have to think he may be rethinking his athletic department situation with Brandon in there. People have been speculating that Brandon's going to go along with Hoke. I mean, he hired Hoke, and if Hoke has to go, then maybe Brandon has to go too. And there are a lot of people, though, that think that they would not do that mid-season, that this is something that's going to happen after the season's over. Other people are of the opinion that, they need to make a move now because this outcry isn't going to go anywhere. I don't know. I suspect that a school like that is probably going to wait till the end of the season to make a move, but I do think that the house will be cleaned completely and that they'll bring in a new AD as well as a new football coach.
Yeah, I'm with you, too. Usually that stuff is, off-season stuff, too. They'll finish out the string, and hopefully a loss to, who helps push them on the way out the door. But
I don't want them to forget that Charlie Weiss is available.
Yeah, again, you said that the other day. Once again, you guys.
You can't say it often enough, Jerry.
I'm telling you. Did you see Harbaugh? He got asked the other day. He's like, last I checked, that job's not open that you're asking me about. So
yeah, that's the correct answer.
I mean, you're asking me about a job that doesn't exist right now, and it's incredibly bad form if he says anything there. But then what makes me wonder how many Michigan alumni in the media are feeding the stories of problems between players and coach and front office, and you wonder. I know there were problems there to begin with, but makes you wonder.
What I heard the other day that was news to me was similar things being said about John Harbaugh in Baltimore. Are you on top of this?
See, I haven't heard anything.
There's dissatisfaction, or there's some kind of friction, or some kind of thing with John. I hadn't heard anything like that, and so maybe that's more of what you're saying. Maybe it's the media creating a story that isn't there.
We need to get a Harbaugh in here. We need to do it somehow, man. Let's put some. Let's throw some mortars out there and see if we can cause some things to come loose, I guess, because you're right. I mean, but look at all this stuff just keeps coming out now about the 49ers. Now nobody wants to play for him. Everybody hates him. They want him off the team now. And like you said, now things are coming out in Baltimore where they're looking like a pretty decent team here through the beginning part of the season. Apparently nobody there likes him either. I mean, they're going to get themselves a Harbaugh up there in Michigan, one way or the other.
Yeah, I don't know how any established NFL coach would really feel he wanted to go back to the lifestyle of a big-time college coach. Just with all the 18-year-old butt-kissing that you have to do, spending half your life traveling around the country, sitting in living rooms with mom and dad, worried about where Junior's going to go to college, and I don't know. I just can't imagine that an NFL football coach who's all about football would want to go back to that sort of an environment where they're doing so much on the recruiting front, and it just seems like it. I can't think of examples. Nick Saban might be the only example of a guy who had a big time NFL job and left it to go back to a college job, and just happens to be the best college job in the country, but. There aren't very many other examples of people going that direction from NFL coach back to college.
No, not unless you really. That's always been since the day I was a baby. I dreamed of having this job. That's about the only.
Or you got fired like Butch Davis and just needed some work. He went back to North Carolina and got them on probation by doing it.
Exactly. Hey, real quick, speaking of college, just got the email while we were talking from CSU, which is technically the host school here. For those of you that don't realize, NCAA tournament, Midwest Regional will be held here in Cleveland, and tickets go on sale in 2 weeks, actually, for that. But what's that? The Midwest Regional, that would be that's the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8.
Sweet 16, right? Sweet 16 round, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. So
have a final talk about some excitement in downtown Cleveland this spring. Holy smokes!
Think about that. That's March 26th.
Add that to the mix.
I got the dates right here. That's March 26th and 28th will be the weekend for that, and that's a Friday, Sunday. So there,
and the week before opening day, Indians opening day.
Exactly, that's what I was talking about. You add that to the Cavs and to the Indians. I mean, that's going to be a hot time in that time period there. But yeah, for those of you that didn't know, the 77th NCAA tournament here will bring part of it to Cleveland. I was there at the Q last time they were here. Ohio State played there, but it was the earlier rounds. It was the
that was the first round.
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, the cool thing about the earlier rounds is you get to see up close 8 teams that you probably didn't see 6 or 7 of them in person all season long. Like, I got a chance to see, because I went to the whole deal that weekend, man. So you do get to see like a lot of teams that you're not used to. This one's a little different because you're in the heart of the tournament there. So I mean, you're only going to have 3 games in Cleveland, whereas we had like 12 that weekend of that first weekend.
Yeah, it's great. That first round is great. I've attended that first round in various venues. I've seen it in Charlotte. I've been to St. Louis for a first round set, and also down in Greenville, South Carolina, one year. Used to go down with a group of guys every year to some part of it, and we usually would hit one of those first round venues where you see 8 teams and some really good games. So six basketball games basically is what you see: 4 first round games and 2 second rounders.
Yeah, this one here.
So yeah, it's big fun, and you get to see all the student bodies, all the different pet bands are there, and it's such a fast rollover that the first day when you're basically watching 2 games a day for the first 2 days.
Yeah, that was definitely
it's big fun.
Yeah, it was a fun experience. That was my first chance seeing it up close, and I enjoyed it. So this one a little bit different for those of you that went to the last one. With it being the regional site, you'll get the 2 Sweet 16 games, and then the 2 winners will play each other on Sunday for the right to go to the Final Four. So instead of getting a quantity of games, you're going to get 3 really meaningful games instead. So that's going to be a lot of fun here coming at the end of March. Going to be interesting. Talking about the NCAA, let's wrap it up with the Buckeyes. They've got a game, first game, Big Ten play coming up this weekend with the new member of the Big Ten here. First time saying hello, football-wise. OSU, Maryland Terrapins here. Noon is the kickoff on this one.
Yeah, it's and they started their Big Ten career with a bang last week. I mean, nobody had them beaten Indiana. Not quite sure why, because Indiana's sort of the perennial Big Ten doormat, but they have had a little bit of a revival the last couple of years, and people just sort of assumed that Indiana, again, playing at home, were going to just have their way with Maryland. And it was quite the opposite. Maryland took it to them right from the get-go and beat them up pretty good. And they're going to have that place rocking. They're going to have a record crowd there Saturday. We're playing on the road, the Buckeyes' second game in Maryland this year. And right now, the issue comes down to who's going to be playing quarterback for them. C.J. Brown, their a dual threat guy, their leading passer and rusher, returning starter at quarterback, was injured during that game. And they had Caleb Rowe finish up for him. He did a real nice job. Threw a couple touchdowns and played well for him. Edsel is keeping it sort of under wraps in terms of who's going to be his starter, whether he's got C.J. Brown back. But what you really look for with Brown is you really do have a serious run threat there. He's already rushed for 266 yards, including 5 touchdowns rushing, including a 75-yard rushing touchdown. So he can run with the ball. He's a big kid, and and he's also an accomplished passer. He's thrown for 1,000 yards already, and 57% completion, seven scores. So a real talented kid playing the quarterback position, and they have maybe the most dangerous receiver in the Big Ten, and Stephon Diggs. This was a guy that Urban Meyer wanted in a big way, and